Welcome back to First Edition. It is called paraskevidekatriophobia, something like that, or the fear of Friday the 13th. And there is a huge cost to this. In the United States, this fear amounts to $8 million in lost business. Wow. So joining me now to tell us more about this fear is Dr. Janine Hubbard. Good evening. Now, I have to ask you this first of all. Are you happy that you're here today and not tomorrow?
Well, I'm just happy you got to pronounce the term instead of me.
Let's try it again. No, no, we won't try it anymore.
No.
So where does the fear of Friday the 13th actually come from?
Well, we don't know completely, but we do know that historically, especially in Christian history, there is definitely an association, a negative association with the number 13. Some think it has to do with the idea of like the Last Supper, for example. And the Friday has come out as an example, again, in some ways looking at something like Easter Friday, so some associations with Christianity. We also know that there are some associations turn of the century. There was a book, a fictional book written about a stockbroker who intentionally crashed the stock market on Friday the 13th. That just happened to be a plot point. And of course, we have a whole series of Hollywood movies that have continued to perpetuate the myth.
But you know, we also have hotels that don't have 13th floor. Airports don't have a gate 13.
Yep. And what we were hearing in those stats is there are some people who alter their behaviors each year so that they avoid doing things like travel or making major purchases or doing major activities on a Friday the 13th. Just they find that alters their behavior just that little bit, which again has a financial impact.
So do we know, do more bad, strange things actually happen on Friday the 13th?
Well, it depends on how you look at the numbers. Certainly there are some people who will crunch the numbers and give you all kinds of examples of bad things that happen on Friday the 13th. On the flip side, you'll see people who have crunched the numbers and said, well, but look at how much more cautious some people are on Friday the 13th. Therefore, there should be fewer car accidents. End of the day, we actually don't have any stats that show that worse things happen on Friday the 13th than any other day of the year.
Now, we call it an irrational fear.
Yep.
And I'm guessing everyone calls it an irrational fear unless they're afraid of it. So how can we cope then with tomorrow? I mean, it's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, and it's all about your perspective taking. Because what happens is, and it's all about how you make attributions. So any other day of the year, something bad happens, and we go, oh, well, that happened. My car broke down because I forgot to take it in for its scheduled maintenance, as opposed to, oh, it broke down because it's Friday the 13th. As I was getting ready to come in here this evening, I dropped my water bottle and it shattered on me. Well, because today's the 12th, I'm going to say that that's probably because I'm a bit of a klutz. If that happened tomorrow, would I be likely to say, oh my goodness, that happened because it was Friday the 13th? It becomes a self-perpetuating fallacy that we notice all of the negative things that happen on that day and don't necessarily remember all of the other days of the year when bad things might happen.
Well, you know, my father turns 82 tomorrow,
Happy
Friday
birthday.
the 13th. So for him, I'm guessing it's a pretty good day.
Absolutely.
He gets to turn 82, so that's fantastic.
And it is all about the perspective that you put on it. There are some people for whom it is very fearful, so reminding yourself if it's a day where if it makes you feel better to avoid making a major purchase or major travel and holding off for a day or two, if that's what helps for you, go for it. But remember that that really isn't going to make any difference in terms of what happens tomorrow.
I hope you haven't jinxed us now.
Me too.
I'm just kidding. Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you so much for coming in.
Anytime.